Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of Defender. Let's add the shooting ability to the turret. We will create a prefab for the projectiles and get them spawning using a script. Okay, let's do this. Okay guys, let's get started with adding in the functionality for shooting. I just noticed that we added a turret and a cannon, but we haven't added a game object for where the bullet should spawn from. Okay, let me just create one object here. So we'll create empty and we will say bullet spawn point. Okay, the reason we want a separate object for this, let me just select my move tool, is so that we can reposition it to how close or how far from the turret we want to have our bullet spawning. Okay, I'm not sure if we're going to have a collider on the cannon and the base as well, or just one huge collider here. So we'll just add the spawn point as a separate object, because what happens is if you spawn a bullet on an object that has a collider, it's going to have some weird effects. Okay, so we'll just have the spawn point separate so that if we do add a collider, we can move the spawn point a little bit up so that it doesn't touch the collider and we have predictable behavior. Okay, so spawn point, and what we want to do here, so I'm just going to move it just to the top of the nose of the cannon. We call it cannon. Okay, and to the middle, so that seems to be in the middle, and we need to go to assets, so project view, assets, scripts, gameplay, and we want object shooter. Okay, make sure you have your bullet spawn point selected and drag it on. Okay, now here you can see it has a direction. So the direction by default is moving up in a 45-degree angle to the right hand side. Okay, so to upright. So the reason for this is we have the shoot direction, which has X and Y. So you know X is on the left to right and Y is top to bottom. Okay, so X is 1, so that sets it to the direction 1, and Y is 1, which moves it up and gives us this point over here. Okay, so we want to have it shooting straight up, so we need to just set Y to 1 and X to 0. Okay, so that will move it straight up. Okay, saving. Okay, we will have a look here at our object shooter. Okay, we have object creation, prefab to spawn, so we need a prefab. Let's just see if there's any available. So let's go to images and see. Okay, there's projectiles. There's a few projectiles to choose from, but none of them are prefab. So what we'll do is, let's just see what we want to use. If I click on bullet, whoops, go back to projectiles. If I click on bullet, in this little area here, preview area, you can see what the object looks like. I can't seem to zoom in here. Okay, it's energy ball, energy sphere, which is just a round object, laser, big, small, and medium. Let's use this energy ball. This looks interesting. So what we need to do is create a prefab out of this first. So we will drag it into our hierarchy, and let's go to assets and create a folder. And because Unity Unity Playground creates all its assets in the root directory, which I don't like, I'm just gonna call this my assets. so that we have our stuff separated from Unity Playground. The reason for this is if we do upgrade Unity Playground, it doesn't accidentally overwrite our stuff. Okay, so we will keep it separate. So my assets, let's go into that and create another directory here, and I will call this prefabs. Go into that. Because this is a simple game, I'm not going to create more folders. Usually you will create a folder for bullets or projectiles in here as well, but we are just going to have one, so let's not overcomplicate things. So we will drag energy ball down into prefabs, and that creates a prefab for us. So you'll see as soon as you drag it down into your project view, your energy ball, whatever object you drag down here, will actually turn this blue color. Okay, that means it's a prefab. Okay, so we don't need this in our project view because we are going to be spawning it using that object shooter script. Okay, so we can delete that. This is a long-winded process, I know, but I don't know if there's an easier way to do this now, but it's the only way I know how to do it. You just have to drag it into your hierarchy first and then drag it back in to create the prefab. I'm sure there must be an easier way to do it. If anyone knows, please leave a comment. Okay, so we can delete that, and let's see. Bullet spawn point, we need to select that prefab, so we'll click on this little circle over here. I'm in the inspector. Click on this prefab to spawn, the little circle, and assets. What is it? Energy ball. Search for energy ball and got it. So key to press, I'm going to leave it as space. Creation rate, that is how fast the projectiles need to be created. I'm leaving this all in its default values. And let's press play. Let's move, press space. Oh, whoops. That is just stuck over there, and oh, I know why. There's a little warning message here. Don't forget to apply a rigid body 2D to your projectiles or they won't move. So let's go back to our energy ball. We'll double click on it. So we're editing this prefab, and we need to add a component, rigid body 2D. Remember, rigid body 2D. And we will set gravity to 0 on this because we don't want it falling back down. And let's see what happens now. There we go. Moving in the right direction as well. Okay, I don't like the color of the energy ball, so let's go into energy ball again. Remember, that's under assets, my assets, prefabs now, energy ball. And you'll see under sprite renderer there is a color value that you can select. Let's make it a red, a bit of a lighter red, and let's make it a bit transparent. So you'll see here there's four values, R, G, B, and A. The three values R, G, and B stand for red, green, and blue. Those are your main color component values, and that determines your actual color without any transparency or anything. Okay, your alpha, your A here is alpha, which means, no, that's your transparency value. Okay, make that about 200, so it's not so harsh and it looks a bit more like a glowing orb kind of thing. And close this. And let's go back, click on hierarchy and get out of your prefab editor by clicking this back button on the left. Okay, let's save that and press play. Cool, that doesn't look too bad. Let's just change this, add in a background. Change the background, add in a background. BG City. So come to assets, new project, assets, images, backgrounds, and BG City. Let's add that in. Just align it with our camera. Remember, this white rectangle represents your camera's viewpoint, what your in-game camera's viewpoint looks like. Okay, so you'll just drag that in, and before you start resizing, change draw mode to tiled and hit T on your keyboard, or select the rect tool up here and just drag it to full your camera. Okay, hit play now. Okay, you'll see it's disappearing. The reason for that, you guys should know by now, is because of the layer order. So let's select BG City and just set order in layer to -1. Remember, Unity will draw each of your images from the lowest number in these in this layer, order layer, up to the highest. So it will draw your background first because it's -1. All the others we had at default, which will be on layer 0. So -1 will be drawn first, everything else on top of that. Let's hit play, and it doesn't disappear because Unity is not getting confused. Okay, that's a bit slow, eh? Let's change that. So I'm not getting out of play mode. Let's just play around with it. Hit click on your bullet spawn point. Let's change shoot speed to 15. Click back on your game view and press space. Okay, I think that's a bit better. Yeah, I like that. Okay, get out of play mode and change shoot speed to 15. Remember, the values you change in play mode does not hold when you exit, so you need to change your values back to whatever you experimented with when you were in play mode. So I exited and shoot speed changed back to 5. I'm updating it to 15, so that will hold now. And let's go to assets and prefabs. Whoops, my assets and prefabs. Energy ball, double click on that. I don't like this, looks a bit weird. It's too rounded, so I'm going to make this a bit narrower. Let's make it like that. Press play. Yeah, that looks better. A bit more laser-like. Projectile-like. We've done quite a bit already. I don't want this video to get too long, so let's do the asteroid spawning in the next video. We'll add in the asteroid spawning and the destruction effects or explosions when we shoot the asteroids. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next video.